Hey guys, welcome back to episode 9 of the ForgeServ Let's Play. I'm going to get started with this episode because I want to get some dimensional power going on. So we're going to take this power cell and I want to get it infused so that way it has a little bit more efficiency as far as interdimensional transport goes. So now that we've got it infused with as much as the dimensional shard as I have, I'd like to get my builder block ready because I'm going to do some prerequisite quarry building. Thinking some quarry stuff would be pretty cool here, so I'm going to get as much of this stuff ready as I possibly can. There's a few things that I'll also try to get done this episode. I'd like to get a quarry card, of course, to go through it and get the fortune quarry card. I'd also like to make a dimension or two. Unfortunately, these don't end up working out, but you'll see once we get there. So, at this point, we're working on just making the plain shape card, and then we'll turn it into a quarry card. And then we're going to have to wait a little while because I just got done using every last one of my dimensional shards. So we're going to run into that problem right here. So you see I'm one dimensional shard short, and that sucks. But they're a random drop from challenger mobs because of a config setting I have. But I wanted to see if I could find one in an RFTools dimension instead. So I got some stuff kind of together here, looking through the manual to see how to get one started, because I've never actually made one myself before. So, taking a look through the book here, it's simply some simple discussion on the different types of dimlets, the specialty dimlets, dimlet crafting, and all the different special materials. So I get started with the dimlet work. Now, I've never actually done anything here with RFTools in the past. So this is my first time actually experimenting with RFTools dimensions. I'm making a lot more things than I ended up ever actually needing, but that's alright. I learned from a few lessons here. Definitely worth taking a look into how some of these mods work on my own. So let me set up some power up to these things though, because it looks like a lot of the RFTools machines are going to require it. We'll slap down some conduit facades to make some neat wire work, like I always like to do. And then, let's see, we'll run back upstairs, fix this hole up, and see what the dimlet workbench looks like, especially once we give it power. So I still have no idea what's going on here at this point, so let's go ahead and make a few other machines, like the Dimension Builder, which is actually going to house the dimension itself and provide it some power. It's a pretty important part of making your dimension. In fact, this is one of the few things you do absolutely have to have every single time you decide to make an RFTools dimension, at least. So go ahead and put down a few extra conduits, maybe some conduit facades here in just a minute to get that covered up as well. And make sure that everything is receiving power like it should be. Go ahead and craft up a dimension editor as well. I'm not really sure if I'll end up needing this or not, but better safe than sorry. Now the more features the dimension may have, the more RF it may cost to keep running. It's simply a matter of how complex you have it. So I decided that at this time it wouldn't be a bad idea to go ahead and move my other RFTools machine, the machine infuser, on over to the other side as well. I'm not really sure why I decided to do this. I kind of like to keep all the mod machine blocks organized and consolidated. So there we go. And the last one that I want to go ahead and make here real quick is the Dimension Inscriber. The Inscriber is also going to take some power, I believe. And so we're going to put it alongside all the other dimensional blocks. And then stick the infuser at the very end. We just need one more conduit facade properly painted. And then with an extra energy conduit covering it up so that it's nice and pretty. And I'm using the back wall instead of the floor, by the way, because the floor doesn't have connected textures with the conduit facades. So there we go, the machine infuser, the inscriber, editor, and builder, and workbench. They are all together. So now I'm going to start with my first realized dimension tab. This is an entire dimension. It takes RF to run it, like I said, which it's about to get. There we go. So as soon as I activate the redstone signal, it is going to immediately drain the machine's internal buffer for power. And, well, as soon as the GUI decides to open, at least. Any minute now. There we go. And so this realized dimension is going to immediately suck up all of the power as soon as I hit the lever. And so there we go, it's built up to 100%. Once it comes to 100%, you see it all just immediately zapped away and infuse the power into the dimension. So now that that is done, I want to throw together everything we need in order to actually get to that dimension. So we're going to need a matter transmitter, which is going to send my entire player, onto this new dimension. We're also going to need a dialing device. And the dialing device is what's going to let us set the matter transmitter to send us to a certain place that isn't just any random place. We want it to obviously send us to the right place. So with the dialing device here at the top and the matter transmitter down in the floor, that's a pretty typical setup. You don't have to follow this construct, but I like this method of having things set up. It's very convenient. We're going to go and set it up, cover up this conduit, and then go ahead and give our matter transmitter a name. We'll call it Juice Home. We'll set it to public so that other people can come and find it, I guess. And now we're going to call it Juice Home and have it dialed to the new dimension I made. And if I select the... I sometimes forget that with the dialing device you have to select the... you have to actually select the transmitter first and then select the dimension. It's something that I just often forget. So you click on that one, and then as soon as I realize it, at least, click on the proper dimension. We're going to go with the ID 2 and we're going to dial it, and as soon as it dials, it's going to start teleporting me, and boom, there we go. Here's our new dimension. Completely useless though. I was hoping for a dimension with normal ore generation, and this dimension does not have any ore generation at all from what I could find. I've sped up this segment just so that I can show you all of the mining that I did to kind of discover and see, because like I said, I was specifically looking for dimensional shards at this point. But of course, normal ore generation would have been useful for a quarry as well, so it kind of would have worked hand in hand. Unfortunately, neither one of these two things worked out for me in this dimension, and I didn't seem to find any, and I did some exploring off camera too, I didn't find any of the RFTools structures that give you more dimlets as well, so it was a bit of a frustrating waste of RF and effort, but it wasn't exactly a huge deal. I go ahead and use my side conjure light spell to kind of cheat the water out of the way a little bit. And at this point, we'll try to see if we can get anywhere. But I'll go ahead and dig all the way down to bedrock and see if I can find anything. But there's not going to be anything down there. You can see it's solid sandstone aside from those random pools of water, which are pretty cool actually. It'd be really neat if those were hollow and if they were ores. It would actually be a really, really cool cave world. But that didn't quite work out, and to be honest, I'm quite lazy with my dimension building. I've never wanted to put too much effort into it because it seems like every mechanic for dimension building, including Mistcraft, has always been kind of a crapshoot. So, I don't know. I never will actually put too much time, I don't think. So this is another dimension that I've made now. I use the Digits 3 dimlet to make sure that it gives me a new dimension ID, otherwise it wouldn't actually serve any purpose. We'll go ahead and dial this one now. And let's see if this one's any better. Definitely not. Definitely not. Random grids of chiseled dirt. There are, however, strongholds generating here, as well as what looks like a bone casket down there. Never actually have seen those before. I believe those are new. But yeah, I found this to be very interesting because there's not really, not particularly a lot going on here. I did do some experimentation, and it looks like the random grid here is the vertical posts are in the middle or in the center of the chunks. So I went through here as well and fast forwarded this. I just wanted to show you guys some of the exploration and looting that I did, because I figured, you know what, if I'm going to waste the RF and the effort to get all of this, I might as well take advantage of what's here. I didn't pick up any of the books as much as my OCD really wanted me to. It really just, I didn't have the interest. I might come back to this dimension later whenever I decide to do a treasure map, however. But in the time that we elapsed here, I got a fourth, in fact quite a few other dimensional shards from challenger mobs, so that was exactly what I needed for the fortune quarry. We'll grab a power cell an Enderlink chest. We'll go and recolor it all cyan so that it goes to our sorting frequency. And I also want to grab a chunk loader to make sure that the builder block chunk loader or chunk tile itself is loaded. Pretty important stuff. So with our chunk loader acquired, let's go ahead and take a look at the ender chest, make sure that it is properly colored. And that looks like that's just about all it needed, was 2 pieces of cyan dye. And now, I guess we should just go ahead and grab a lever, because this will require a redstone signal to run. And now I want to check out the minimap and see where looks like a good place to do some quarrying. Looks like down here to the southeast is a good place. It looks like some kind of meh, bleh, dry land. So I'll slap a waypoint down. We'll head on over there here briefly. Because those little dried land areas with the dried sand and hardened sand, those are some areas that I never live in, never occupy. And this isn't actually going to dig out the area, this is simply going to replace it all with dirt. So it might actually make the place look a little better. You just never know. The quarry is really going to be helpful though. Because as of the time of recording this video, I only had about 400 iron, so not really a whole lot. But this power cell already has a link card in it and is already set to output on all sides. We'll go ahead and check the chunk loader and make sure that everything is within range as far as some of these borders go. I always like to make sure that everything's going to work out okay. And we're going to take the shape card and bind it to the proper corners. This gives us a pretty big size here. You can see I've got the chunk loader indicators as well as the chunk borders open, so I could make sure. Set up the blacklist properly. Do the view mode to make sure that the dimensions are proper as well. That's going all the way down to bedrock. And everything looks good to go here, so let's give it a run. So it's going to start over here in this chunk, it looks like. And just a little bit of time later, I want to check out the loot, and it's looking good. So that concludes this episode. We got the quarry up and running. We tried to do an RFTools dimension or two, and none of them worked, but we'll try again later. Alright, hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Later.